The Zephyrian Council had made their decision with cold efficiency. The offspring was defective, they declared, unworthy of the apex predator bloodline that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia. Where other Zephyrian young emerged from their birthing pods with razor-sharp talons and venom sacs already functional, this one possessed neither. Its scales were softer, its reflexes slower, its hunting instincts practically non-existent. "Cast it out," commanded High Predator Vexthar, his 3 sets of eyes never wavering from the small creature cowering in the corner of the judgment chamber. The weak have no place among the strong. The youngling, no bigger than a human child, despite belonging to a race of 12-foot killing machines, was loaded onto a transport and jettisoned toward the nearest inhabited system. The Zephyrians expected it to die within cycles. They were wrong about many things, but mostly about humans. Captain Elsa Chen of the research vessel Harmony was conducting routine atmospheric surveys of Caridian 7 when her sensors detected the escape pod's distress beacon. As the ship's xenobiologist, she'd studied the Zephyrian species extensively, from a safe distance, of course. When the pod opened to reveal a juvenile specimen, her crew's first instinct was to arm themselves. "Captain," whispered her security chief, "that's a baby apex predator. Even juveniles have been known to—" "Look at it," Elsa interrupted, kneeling beside the pod. The creature was unconscious, its breathing shallow and labored. Where adult Zephyrians possessed gleaming black scales like living armor, this one's hide was a mottled gray-green, almost soft to the touch. Its claws were barely formed, more like human fingernails than the molecular sharp weapons of its species. "It's starving." The creature's eyes fluttered open, not the typical predator's slits, but wide and almost vulnerable. It tried to hiss, but the sound came out as more of a whimper. Elsa felt something shift in her chest, a protective instinct she'd never experienced before. "We're taking it aboard," she declared. Her crew exchanged worried glances, but they'd learned to trust their captain's judgment. Dr. Sarah Kim, the ship's physician, ran every medical scan she could think of while Elsa researched Zephyrian biology. What they discovered changed everything. "It's not defective," Dr. Kim announced during their evening briefing. "It's evolved. Look at these neural pathway scans. Its brain structure is completely different from baseline Zephyrians. Enhanced problem-solving centers, expanded empathy regions, increased capacity for learning and adaptation." Elsa studied the sleeping creature through the medical bay's viewing window. It had been aboard for 3 days now, and already showed signs of recovery. The Zephyrians saw weakness where there was actually advancement. They named it Haven, and what followed was unlike anything in xenobiological records. Where Zephyrian young learned through violence and dominance displays, Haven learned through observation and mimicry. It watched Elsa work at her research station and began organizing its own small collection of items in similar patterns. It observed Dr. Kim's gentle bedside manner with injured crew members and started bringing her objects it thought she might need. Within months, Haven had learned basic human language, not just words but concepts of cooperation, kindness, and sacrifice that were utterly foreign to its species. It grew larger, stronger, but its strength was tempered by an almost supernatural gentleness. When Engineer Martinez injured his hand in an accident, Haven's immediate response wasn't to see weakness to exploit, but to carefully tend to the wound with supplies it had gathered. "It's not just learning human behavior," Elsa noted in her research logs. "It's becoming something new entirely, a bridge between 2 species." The test came when a Zephyrian warfleet intercepted them near the Proxima station. High Predator Vexthar himself materialized on their bridge, his massive form making the reinforced deck plates groan under his weight. His eyes immediately locked onto Haven, who had grown to nearly 8 feet tall but still possessed none of the traditional predator markers. "The failed offspring lives," Vexthar rumbled, his voice like grinding metal, "and has been contaminated by lesser species." His gaze swept over the human crew with obvious disgust. "No matter. I will correct this error personally." Haven stepped forward, and for the first time since coming aboard, Elsa saw something dangerous in its posture. But it wasn't the mindless aggression of a traditional Zephyrian. It was controlled, purposeful. "These humans showed me strength you cannot comprehend," Haven said, its voice carrying harmonics that resonated through the ship's hull. "They fed me when I was starving, healed me when I was injured, taught me when I was ignorant. They asked for nothing in return." Vexthar laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Weakness, sentiment. These are the failures that led to your exile." "No," Haven replied, and suddenly the temperature in the room seemed to drop. "These are the qualities that will ensure your species survives what's coming. The high predators." Expression shifted to confusion, then alarm as Haven continued. "The Andromedans are returning, and they remember every world you've burned, every species you've enslaved. Your strength alone will not be enough this time. But cooperation, sacrifice, the willingness to defend those weaker than yourself. These humans have shown me weapons more powerful than claws or venom." For the first time in recorded history, a Zephyrian high predator took a step backward. Haven hadn't grown traditional weapons, but its scales had taken on a prismatic quality that seemed to bend light around it. Its eyes, still gentle when looking at humans, now held depths that spoke of vast alien intelligence. "I am not the weak cast-off you discarded," Haven declared. "I am what Zephyrians could become if you had the courage to evolve." When the Andromedan fleets arrived 6 months later, they found something unprecedented. Zephyrian warships flying in formation with human vessels, their combined tactics proving devastatingly effective. At the center of the Alliance fleet, aboard a specially constructed command ship that bore both species markings, stood Haven, no longer the rejected child of a predator race, but the architect of a new kind of strength. The galaxy would learn, as the humans had, that true power lay not in domination, but in the choice to protect those who needed it most. And they would remember that sometimes the greatest predators were those who chose mercy over massacre. In her final log entry before the battle, Captain Elsa Chen wrote, "We didn't just save Haven from the void, we saved the galaxy from itself."